Today, we're looking at Sheaffer Black. As always, there's timestamps down below so you can skip around, but if you've got the time, I'd appreciate you checking out the entire video. Also down in the description is a link to a black ink playlist, so if you're interested in looking, you can check that out. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. Let's get into the first writing sample on 90 GSM Clairfontaine. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 6 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade, 9 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show us no color variation. We didn't expect it, we didn't get it, and a smear test you could probably recover it if you smeared while you were writing. To have a range of experience with this ink, the writing samples are done with a Jinhao 159 with a 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a medium, and a Jinhao X750 with an extra fine. Then a Noodler's Neponset with a music nib was inked up, used for day, and used to take the notes for this video. The next writing sample is done on 52 GSM Tomoe River. We have no bleeding or ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is the same tone with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade, and 10 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone again. Look at how nice and consistent this is. No feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, and 14 seconds to dry. No color variation in a scrubby, and we don't get it. And a smear test, there's a maybe to recover that if you smeared while you're writing. I agree with Vita. There's a lot to learn by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. A line of ink is put down, and then it's put in the water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see that this black is not black, it's mixed. It's green and purple, which really do create a very dark black. Not too shabby. The one on the right is let dry for 10 minutes before it's dunked in the water. And we see that a lot of that green is really holding up, staying in place. Some of it is moving up. But then we get some of the purple, which is lighter at the top, which does mean that some of it stayed in the bottom. The next writing sample is done on 80 GSM Rhodia dot pad. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, and 5 seconds to dry. The medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 8 seconds to dry. The scrubby for both show no color variation, and there is none, and the smear test says you could recover it if you smeared while you were writing. Resistance tests are done to see how this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it may be to clean from your pen. The smear is allowed to dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, it's handling itself incredibly well. It's not budging at all, which I was not expecting from a Sheaffer ink. Water is really barely moving it. Again, super shocked with this being a Sheaffer ink. Pen flush is starting to break it down. You see some of the green that was at the bottom of the chromatography still being there. 1/3 bleach solution is completely removing it, but it only took water to get this out of my pen. The next writing sample is done on a memoranda pad, like I used when I was in the Marines. We have no bleeding, no ghosting. The medium has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as that medium with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 4 seconds to dry. The scrubby, no color variation and none in the writing, and a smear test you could recover it if you smeared while you were writing. For the inks tested, the average viscosity was 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Sheaffer Black has a viscosity of 2.66, making it normal. There's a link in the description to how the whole viscosity thing is done here. Now, let's take a look at a composition notebook like you would have used in your science lab class. We do have quite a bit of ghosting that's going on. The only bleed spot that occurs is at the scrubby, so not a big deal. This is not a common thing to get that much ghosting, so pretty interesting. The medium has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the medium with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, and 2 seconds to dry. Really good for a student. The scrubby shows no color variation, and we're not getting any, and the smear test shows you're easily going to be able to recover it if you smear while you're writing. For the inks tested, the average dry time is 17 seconds, and the realm of normal is 13 to 21 seconds. Sheaffer Black has an average dry time of 9 seconds, making this a fast drying ink. The last writing sample is done on 20-pound copy paper. It bleeds a ton. It did not touch the back of the page, the page underneath. But look, there is so much bleed, wow. I mean, ghosting isn't a concern because it's almost entirely making its way through, but not touching the next page. Super interesting. You just can't use the back of this page. That medium has no feathering. It does spread to about a broad with no halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the medium. It has no feathering. It has spread to about a medium with no halo sheen, no shade, 1 second to dry. The scrubby shows no color variation, and there is none. And the smear test, you could definitely recover it if you smeared while you were writing. Instead of finding inks that look like Sheaffer Black, I would prefer to find an ink that complements it on the page. I went with a green ink from Callifolio Teodora. Now, if you'd prefer to look at different colors as the complement, there's links to all those playlists down in the description. So what do I think of Sheaffer Black? This is a really good black, very black, no shading, almost no tone variation. Why don't people look at this more for a nice, dark, inexpensive black ink? Let's bring some glory to this ink. It really deserves it. So what nib and pen will give the best writing experience with this ink? This is such a good black that it doesn't care what pen you put it in. It's going to give you a fantastic performance. So this is a dealer's choice. Now, I hope you got something out of this video, and I really look forward to seeing you tomorrow when we take a look at Mont Blanc's Lucky Orange.